Hi everybody, I'm Susan Mulvihill. Welcome back to my Zone 5B Spokane, Washington garden. I hope you enjoyed the view of the daffodils in our blueberry bed. They are looking so spectacular right now. It has been really chilly for the last week. We were out of town over Easter for a visit with our family, and it snowed 2 different times. The temperatures have been really cold, and it's making it very hard to get the garden going. But fortunately, things are looking up because today I'm going to plant potatoes. I've got all kinds of information to share with you, so let's get started. The first thing I wanted to share with you is that a few weeks ago I began the chitting process, that is chitting with a CH, for my seed potatoes. We had been keeping the seed potatoes in a cool, dark area throughout the fall and winter months. But the chitting process involves exposing your seed potatoes to normal light so that they can begin sprouting. And what this does is it gives them a head start on growing. I did this last year for the first time. I grew some potatoes without using the chitting process, and the other ones I did chit them ahead of time, and what a difference it made. They were growing by leaps and bounds compared to the ones that didn't go through the chitting process. So that's what I've done. They're just sitting in some egg cartons at the moment, and they are raring to go. Now, when it comes to growing potatoes for this year's garden, we are thinking outside the box. In past years, we've always grown our potatoes in raised beds. Last year, we grew half of our crop in a raised bed and the other half in containers. So some of them were really large plastic pots like this, and others were in cloth grow bags like this. Well, guess what? We discovered it is so much easier to harvest them in the fall when we grow them in containers, because all we had to do was set down a tarp, tip over the container, empty the contents, and there's all the potatoes. Way easier than digging for them in the soil where you risk cutting into them and shortening their storage lifespan. So these are 15-gallon grow bags that I got from Greenhouse Megastore. I'm also using grow bags from Gardener's Supply. And this is what we're going to use this year. The thing I love about this is, in addition to the ease of harvesting the potatoes later, it frees up one of our raised beds that we would have grown potatoes in to grow other veggies in, because everything's going to be in containers. Okay, the first thing I did was to put about 6 inches of compost into the bottom of each grow bag. It is not 100% finished compost, as you can see, but there's lots of nutrients in there and the potatoes will love it. And the next step is to add some bone meal. Now this in particular is fish bone meal. I really like this type of product. And anytime you see a package of fertilizer, whether it's in a box or a bag, it will always have 3 numbers on it. The first number, in this case 4, represents the proportion of nitrogen in the product. The middle number refers to phosphorus, and the last number refers to potassium. So you can see it's not a whole lot of nitrogen, and that's good. I'm not trying to promote a lot of leafy green growth. I want those potatoes. And since those are more of a root crop, I want them to have a lot of phosphorus. That is going to promote root growth. I'm just going to put a small handful and mix it into the compost in each bag. Next up is planting the seed potatoes. And so I'm just going to take 3 and nestle them into the compost. And those with sprouts, I'm going to try to angle them upward a little bit, so that's good. Then I'm going to put about 3 inches or so of potting soil on top. If you're wondering which type of potato I'm planting, this is bluebell, and I'm sorry to say that you probably can't find them anywhere in the United States. We've been growing them for years, and each winter we set aside a few to grow for the following growing season. And I used to get them from a company that sold all sorts of really great seed potatoes. Well, they stopped selling seed potatoes. I think they were having trouble accessing them and keeping the prices reasonable. So anyway, sorry to say that you probably will not be able to find this anywhere, but this is the variety that we really like. We also like Yukon Gold. We grew Minnesota last year. I was kind of so-so about those. I didn't feel like they performed very well, but there are a lot of great potato varieties out there. Now for a few inches of potting soil. During the growing season, it's really important that you don't let any tubers that are developing at the soil surface to be exposed to the sun. And that's because they will form a natural chemical called solanine. And if you eat a bunch of it, it is toxic. So we'll always make sure the tubers are covered with soil or mulch. So now what happens? Well, we're going to let the potatoes sprout and grow and let them get a few inches above the surface of the potting soil that I just added. And then we're going to add in more soil so it's just about like right around their necks. Let them grow some more, fill in some more. And that's what the process is for growing the potatoes. I'm also going to add in some grass clippings from our lawn as a mulch, and that's because we don't use any herbicides like weed and feed, so it's safe to use around the vegetable plants. And we're just going to keep letting them grow all the way until the fall. We'll harvest them after they get frosted. For watering, we're going to use our drip irrigation system. Bill has set up a line that will go to each of the bags, and it is a 1/4 inch drip tubing, and that will work great. I promise to give you a bunch of updates on how they're doing throughout the growing season so you can see the whole process. Thanks so much for watching today, everybody. I'll see you next week. Happy gardening.